Bye, Zombie.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. Today we are at Drips Art X Fashion in Absecon, New Jersey, doing our next Spotlight artist. We have here Randi Loren and her dog Cora visiting us today. We have her work hanging in the studio and we're here to talk about it and learn a little bit more about her. Randi, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you so much for joining us and bringing Cora. She is so adorable. Thank you. We have your work up. And we wanted to bring you in and like get to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So tell us where you're from.
Okay, I grew up in Mays Landing. I live with my grandparents. My parents are divorced, so I went through school in Mays Landing, and then in the middle of high school, I moved to Vineland with my mom, and that's kind of where I graduated. And then after that, I moved back to Atlantic County, like Atlantic City area. And that's where I've been for the last, I guess, 6, 7, 8 years. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're glad that you're here. You bring such amazing pieces and art and influence to Atlantic City and this area, Atlantic County in general.
Thanks.
So, we wanted to showcase you and show your work and things like that. So who are your biggest influences as an artist?
So Basquiat and Keith Haring are probably my top two, but I like genres, or styles, I guess. Things that are kind of different from traditional art.
Right.
Some call it anti-art or abstract or surrealism. I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Basquiat and Keith Haring.
Biggest influences.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So all of your work, they pop. Well, the work that I've been, introduced to, it's pop. It's like bright, vibrant colors. What influences you to create this type of art and use the method of painting that you do?
So I guess I wanted to do something completely different from the traditional portrait, but also in the sense, like with cartoon, like I love cartoons also. So you know how cartoons are bright and they attract kids, but they're attractive, and that's kind of what I was going for, something that attracts people to the painting, and it's not just a portrait. And I guess with people, everyone kind of has. No one's perfect, right? So I kind of wanted the portraits not to be perfect either. I wanted them to be, individually, all different, like people are, but also not perfect like people.
Right.
So that's kind of my style.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you get into the zone of like your unperfection situation? Like, how do you get into the zone?
So I love music, so I'll put on music. That's like number one. But I'm also inspired by, I try to do a background first. That kind of inspires the painting. Like a lot of them, like Cynthia, their dancer, she was a palette, I was just using that. She was something else. She was Cynthia before, but she was a 2D Cynthia. So I put her down and I put another painting up and I just used that. And that created a background which inspired, that. And that's kind of what I do for all of them. I kind of start with the background and that kind of gets me into that zone. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So something for the people watching and other artists that are local. If you had like any words of inspiration, like what would you tell an aspiring artist?
Just basically to keep always working. Always create, and no matter if it's for for yourself, do it for yourself. But eventually, do it. I guess not. Like I wouldn't say do it for other people, but you want to sell or you want to show your work. So, and always listen always listen to people giving you advice, especially artists that have been doing it for a while. Listen to what they have to say, and kind of like try to apply that to what you're doing. So you're still like you have your own language with your art,
Right.
but you're benefiting from what people are saying to you to kind of make your art more advanced.
Gotcha.
But just always keep
Right.
working.
Nice.
Always, yeah.
So we actually have a live audience today, and they have some questions for you, but I have one last question for you. If you were able to have any superpower, what would it be?
Probably shape-shifting.
Why shape-shifting?
Because you could be anything you want. It kind of just reminds me of like Kirby, where he could absorb people's powers and be whatever. I think that's cool. Like you could be invisible and rob a bank, but you could also be the bank owner and own all the banks.
Oh, well.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's your universe. I guess you do what you want. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it so. There's ways of getting what you want.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. That's cool. So we have some questions from our audience. So let's get our first person.
What inspired you to start doing art in the first place?
I guess when I was a kid, my grandparents always had crayons or paint or whatever to keep me entertained. And I guess that's kind of what inspired me to start painting. I don't really remember a moment where I was like, I want to be, an artist or whatever. Just my parents, even, not just my grandparents, would always encourage drawing or painting or being creative. So I guess that's what really inspired my art.
Do you work with anything else other than colors? Do you work in chalk or pencil or anything like that?
Yeah, I used to draw a lot with pencil or charcoal or whatever kits that I would get for Christmas or birthdays. I would definitely draw with whatever I could find, but as far as like painting, I stick with acrylic. But yeah, I'm open to explore and try other things.
Is there anything like you're working on now, like that's gotten your attention a lot?
Yeah, I'm like doing these portraits, like selfie portraits where that selfie angle, I'm kind of using that for my next series of portraits. And also, Charles and I were watching the news and everyone's doing Zoom calls. So there's like bookshelves and stuff in the background, and that kind of is an inspiration for what I'm gonna do next. To kind of put another twist to the portrait style.
You said you were inspired by different genres. What different genres are you currently inspired by right now?
So I'd say like surrealism, abstract, but like anti-art, Dada is kind of like, I think what I really like. But again, like I'm still learning, trying to figure out, the entire art world. So, yeah, I mean, just me looking at things and seeing certain things that I like, I'll just take, each thing that I like from the genre or whatever and apply it to my own thing. So, yeah.
Is there any form of art that you haven't done that you would like to do in the future?
Hi, Cora. Sit down. Down. Sit down. Come on. Okay. So, yeah, I think I'd like to do all of it. There's a lot that I haven't done, but hopefully I can, take this opportunity to do everything. Whatever that may be.
Like sculpting? Do you
Sculpting,
sculpt?
yeah, sculpting. whatever it is. Yeah, I just want to explore it all if I can.
So as far as getting your ideas from, other artists, iron sharpens iron, always in the art world, right?
Yeah.
So keeping your originality, but getting influence, what challenge is that to you? Like keeping your, you got to have your own little identity.
Yeah.
But you got to pick up. Everybody. You got to.
Right.
A great artist always pick up from,
Yeah.
you and Chaz. You're always gonna, you can keep it. Sharpen each other.
Okay, yeah. So I would basically just, paint what I wanted and get that feel. It's like an intuition. You're doing wrong or you're doing right in your painting, but whatever information or criticism you get from other artists that either who or not artists or just people that are looking at your art, you kind of take that and apply it to what you know without creating something that isn't you. You try to keep your own language in your paintings. It's kind of like, I guess, when you learn like Spanglish, like when you learn a different language and you kind of are like, mixing English and Spanish together, but it's, it's its own little language, but it's still Spanish and English. Like you can tell that they're mixed together. I guess it's kind of like that, where you're creating a language from your imagination and someone's imagination, I guess, or their input, and again, creating your own language, keeping it as original as you can.
So I struggle with 3D drawing because I'm much better at 2D. So, what would be like a few tips to be drawing 3D art?
So I would basically start with, making sure that you have range, light to dark, shadow, highlight. That could really improve, take something 2D and make it 3D. A good practice is drawing from, still life drawings, drawing from real life, taking whatever it is you want to draw or paint in a dark room, but light enough so you can see, and putting a light over it and really seeing, that'll really give you the range of light to dark, and you can just, copy that. But that'll give you it's a good study to practice 3D painting.
Well, thank you, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. Again, I want to thank Randi for stopping by and introducing herself. Randi, where can the viewers find your work?
Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, Randi Lauren, and my Instagram is modus operandi. MODUS_OPE_RANDI, or art Randi Lauren, but they're all connected, so if you find one, you'll find all the other ones.
All right, awesome. So you guys got that. Thank you guys for joining us, and until next time, bye.